Teresa from MT Treasures. Happy to have you with us today. I thought we'd take a little trip up 6 Mile Canyon and put a little video of that for you guys that don't live in the area, because we're smelting some of the ore we picked up along here a little while back, and we did go ahead and do pretty good with it when we smelted the first time, but we had an issue with the smelter. The Capella fell over and we lost some of our stuff, so we wanted to go ahead and redo it and see how that went. Because we don't walk as good as we used to, we have trouble climbing up the hills sometimes. We go ahead and like to look for low-hanging fruit. 6 Mile Canyon is perfect for that because there's rivers, little streams, all kinds of bedrock. So depending on if we have water or not, we could pan over here, or we could go ahead and just walk along the road and look at the ore that got kicked up from the construction that they did. And that's where we found this. So take the metal detectors sometimes we don't. It just depends. Sometimes we just view it by eye, looking for the right color, the right consistency, the right mix of rocks and stuff. But it's a beautiful area. I love coming up here. We're only, it's called 6 Mile Canyon because we live at the bottom of it. We're 6 miles from Virginia City. So this is the Comstock area, and it's beautiful. Hope you enjoy it.
Here I have about 850 grams of some roasted ore that Teresa and I found up at 6 Mile Canyon. And what we did is we brought it home. We were out looking for rocks, and we found some interesting quartz. And so what I did is I basically brought the ore home, and on Father's Day went out there and started going through it and looking at it and, you know, picking out the ore that looked pretty good. And the first one I cracked open had a nice vein of silver running through it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 850 grams of the 6 Mile ore that we processed, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run it through the sluice and collect up the fines. Or the concentrates. And then we will take and smelt them down and see what we got. Stay tuned. Okay, so we have run the ore, and it is now time to clean the sluice up. I brushed these areas backwards to try to get the water to remove it, but the material's so heavy it just simply doesn't want to go anywhere. So they'll be added to the cons, because that's exactly what we're after, are those heavies. Okay, and there's our pan of concentrates from that 6 Mile ore after cleaning up the sluice. We're going to dry it out and we'll get it smelted down. Okay, we ended up out of 850 grams of material with 210 grams of concentrates, to which I've added 400 grams of flux, 100 grams of borax, and 90 grams of litharge, and 3 nails. Well, let's see if we found precious metals while out hunting for rocks up 6 Mile Canyon. Stay tuned for the results. Okay, here we are with our 10 kilo crucible filled with 210 grams of concentrated ore from 6 Mile Canyon. Well, let's turn this bad boy on, smelt it up, and see what type of lead pearl we get out of it. Remember, when you guys are doing this, this is extremely dangerous what we're doing. There are a lot of extremely toxic fumes, and you're dealing with molten rock. So, your biggest piece of PPE you want to wear always, including cupelling, you guys really want to do this, is the actual carbon mask itself. And I also have the leather vest. And of course, I have the gloves and arm guards, as well as my face shield. But the biggest piece of PPE out here, people, is in fact that carbon mask. Because you're talking about silicosis, and it doesn't take long to get it. You're talking about sulfuric acid fumes that when they hit the lungs will tear up your lungs. You're talking about fumes from the lead when they oxidize. You don't want to breathe those in either. So for God's sakes, use the appropriate PPE and protect yourself. This is not fun if you get seriously injured or ill from the process. Alright, so we did get a lead prill out of that crucible, even though it cracked open and leaked. And the prill we got weighs, oh, look at that, 10 grams, even.
That's a good one.
Sweet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rest of that material, I'm going to pull out that metal plate, fix my kiln, of course, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the next piece of lead after I remix it, and I'll smelt both pieces of lead together. Stay tuned, let's see what we got. And it looks like the black stallions have joined us here, along with the white one. Yeah, we're getting quite a few horses here. Yeah, they're just kind of hanging out, eating the shrubbery, heading towards the apple trees. Those apple trees are going to get destroyed this year. You can bet on it. They're going to be feeding. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run this 10-gram prill we got out of that crucible. I pulled out the plate, etc. That stuff's melted into the KOL. It's not coming out of there. So what I'm hoping is that we collected most of the material in this 10-gram prill because it was leaking out over the top of it. However, there's pretty much no doubt in my mind we lost 2/3 of the material, so the prill is just probably not going to have everything that was in it, and it was some of our richer ore that we had found. So what I'm going to do is we have more here that I need to go through and look at, and unfortunately we're going to run this, see what we get out of it, and hopefully it'll be a nice little prill of gold or silver. We're about to find out. Alright, so our smelter is started. Let's go ahead and get this piece of lead melted down, and we'll turn on the air and see what we get. So as you can hopefully see, we did get a little something. Absolutely nothing worth writing home about. Unfortunately, 2/3 of this material ended up in the smelter because the bottom of the crucible cracked open. That's unfortunate. This was some really good looking ore. Oh well, better luck next time. Okay, the perils of smelting. This crucible did not overflow. The sides of it cracked open even though it looked really good, and it leaked ore down in to my smelter. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it cool, and I'm going to pull that stainless steel plate out. I'm hoping most of it will stick to it so I can recrush it up and resmelt it. We did get a lead prill. Unfortunately, the material as it was smelting was leaking out. It looked good, but you know, these are the problems we face.